We are here to discuss Unleash the Power of the Female Brain. This is discussion 4B. Last week was postponed because of the other storm that we had just last week, and I didn't have any power, and so many other people didn't either. So we're going to just start today with who we have in attendance and move forward because this snowstorm has everybody stressed out. So let's get started. We were starting off on the second half of Chapter 4 simply because Chapter 4 was so full of information that we wanted to make sure that we at least gave it an opportunity to discuss it without feel like we had to rush the whole chapter. So Part 2 started with, if you're in the book, is 121, balance thyroid, cortisol, DHEA, and insulin. And I just wanted to say that I started a challenge with my gym this week, and to lower our cortisol levels in the morning, I'm doing like a quarter teaspoon of Himalaya salt with the 24 ounces of water to do that. I already had a DHEA supplement already, and I also have a thyroid supplement, and it's important to know if you got low or hyper or hypothyroid issues. And I got one.
Angie, Tanisha's trying to get in, and she can't get in. She keeps sending me text messages.
Okay, well, let's see.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's okay. And okay, so let's see if she's gonna come in now. I posted another invitation, so she pops in. Great. So outside of that, that's where we are with Chapter 4. I just always believed that my thyroids didn't function as the way I wanted them to, and I kept looking at different symptoms, and I got the book about, your blood type eating. I've read many books on the thyroid, and I just seem to like the things about being cold often, those type of things just seem to always occur. But I mean, I was downstairs hula hooping a little while ago, so I'll tell you one thing, I certainly wasn't cold no more, that's for sure. So, hula hooping, girl, hula hooping. So I'm just trying to make sure I had the right. Oh, that's why she didn't get in, because I didn't send the right thing. Uh-oh. So I just checked my account just to make sure I had it partially correct. Not all the way correct.
Gotcha.
Okay, she definitely should get it at this moment. So that's just kind of where I'm at with that.
Okay.
And just making sure. So right now I'm on like a high protein, low carb, just because I'm trying to help my body with the hydration. I don't drink as much water in the wintertime as I normally do. I mean, right after the gym, I could drink a liter and a half straight down. But just trying to lose fat, build muscle, and sustain that. And in this whole journey of trying to learn my body, I've learned a lot of different things. I kind of know what things don't work for me, what things work for me, and I'm still tweaking some things. So I'm kind of right there with that. Okay, Tanisha still's not in, and I know I got the right email now because I went on my search box and went.
Send her a text message and tell her that you got her.
Go ahead and talk. I'm just
okay.
Okay, because I was getting ready to send her a message myself.
Okay.
So I mean, go ahead and talk. I'm just trying to make sure she gets in.
Okay, no problem. Well, I did. I scheduled my appointments for to get all of my numbers done. I was in the process of changing primary care physicians because I live on the opposite side of DC now than I did initially, and it's just not convenient for me to go to the one I had been going to.
Tanisha's in. Hi, Tanisha. Sorry.
Hey.
Hey, Doc.
I left out the 1972. I was just putting in 72 and not the 19. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting here.
Yeah, that was my fault because I pretty much almost had them memorized, and I'm like, all right, it's SM Davies 72, but no, it's 1972. So I'm sorry. Sorry, Nia, for cutting you off.
No, that's okay. I'm just 1972. Jeez, you are really young.
That's my husband's. That's my husband's date of birth.
So yours is even younger than that.
We're younger.
Oh my gosh.
I think they're 78.
Yeah, we are.
Babies.
Yeah.
Babies.
I don't feel like at 35, like I got more aches and pains than I ever had.
Girl, age is nothing but a number.
I know that's right. I'm holding on to that.
You better watch that video of that man I have on my page. He's 70 years old. He talks about how age is just a number. He's a 70-year-old bodybuilder. Watch him.
No, you know what though? But I will tell you, my patients that are the healthiest and that live the longest are the ones who stay active. By far.
Yep.
Hands down.
I made my dad watch that video. So
Well, I like the one of the stripper. I'm sorry. I
do
would
too.
any gym to have that stripper.
or a stripper, some stripper.
I'll be really working.
I would have pedaled it all by myself. Y'all get out the way. Y'all ain't pedaling fast enough. Come on. Faster. Okay. Come on. Yeah.
And at the end it says 2,000 calories. So it was working.
I would. It was worth it. Shucks.
It would have been. Now, could we get a live stripper to strip while I pedal?
Well, here's the thing. When you stop pedaling, the stripper go away. So that's why.
You gotta keep going.
Okay, so if you stop and then you got to start over at the beginning.
I don't know, but if you stop pedaling, he goes away. So you got to keep pedaling to get more of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It works for me. It will work for me. We need to find a gym that will do that.
I know that. Oh,
I will change. I'll move to another state to a gym.
Mm. I may have to find that technology so when I open up my gym for the ladies' room only spin class, we can have that go up. And do one for men in another room.
Well, see now the problem is if you did it in DC, they'd all be in the room watching the man strip too. So.
Oh Lord.
But we can say that anywhere these days. Oh my God.
No, seriously, down here, straight men are the minority. Seriously.
Really?
That's like Atlanta.
Yeah, it's like they moved to Atlanta from here.
Really?
They wanted better weather.
Atlanta, yeah.
Wow. Well, guys, guess what? I told one of my patients about this book, and she got it. And she called me, I think, probably late last week, and she said, oh my goodness, I need to have this level check. I need to have this. Oh my goodness. And she's a woman, her mother died. She moved from Pennsylvania back here 4 years ago, watched her mother die last year, pancreatic cancer, took care of her for 4 years, then watched her father die in December.
Wow.
She came to me and she said, Dr. Davis, I know I have thyroid disease already. I just know something's off. And all her levels were great. I said, you have been going for 4 years. You need time to grieve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nothing's wrong with you. Mm-hmm. You know, but I inspired her to buy it, and so she's like reading it now. So.
Oh, cool.
Excellent.
Yay.
Excellent.
Yay.
Yeah, the more we can educate people, the better, and that's going to be the key. Like this definitely has to be a grassroots campaign because if we wait for it to happen on media or even some doctors to tell us or anybody, we'll be, excuse my French, we'll be just shit out of luck. So
right.
You
get that right.
Yep.
You all right, Dawn?
Don't have
I got no lights.
What happened to your light? No, I'm in Rodney's office so I can be away from the kids.
Oh, you don't have an overhead light.
And I don't have an overhead light in here.
Oh, you're fine, girl. You fine. I see you. We see you.
We can see the top of your forehead. Okay. We can see the top of your forehead.
Yeah.
And see, nobody's as dark as mine because I got a lamp over there, but I could turn the light on. I just don't want to turn the light on.
Well, the lamp that's in here, that bright light is showing from my night light, my night stand. What happened was I had another light and I was like, I can't see. So when I put these lights in our night light, and it's like the lights on my car. They're like all blue and
that's the night light? That's
yes. That's the light on my night light. Yes, on my night table. Yes.
Mm.
You see, girl, you almost need to put some sunscreen on when you sit over there.
See that? It's radiating from. It's just radiating.
Oh Lord.
Well, you told him it was too dark.
I know, cause I'm always like I reading or I'm on all this stuff all the time before I go to sleep, and I guess I couldn't see. He said, "Well, you shouldn't have no problem seeing now, but that light is annoying to me. I want a regular light back."
Be careful what you wish for.
I know. That's why I lowered my voice. So, yeah, that's my sunshine, because Lord knows ain't nothing going on outside.
None. Nothing at all.
None. All right, guys, we're having too much fun here.
Okay, come on, we're going to get to work now.
We're going to get back to these thyroids and stuff. So, I mean, I was saying how when I kept looking at, like, the characteristics for low thyroid, I figured that I needed to try to figure out what I already knew about my body and tweak it to see how I can get things regulated. And like my number one thing for me that started off was feeling cold when everybody else was hot. I was like, what's wrong with y'all? It's freezing. They looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Type of and then one time I just had plateaued and like I didn't seem to like lose any weight, but that wasn't really a major issue. And I changed my diet. That changed. When I changed my diet, the constipation changed. I used to, before, needed a nap all the time. Like I seemed like I was always tired. I woke up tired, needed a nap in the daytime, was tired when I was a kid. It seemed like I was always tired. High cholesterol is not my issue. High blood pressure is not my issue.
We're in part 2, right?
Yes. The book, it starts on page 121, but I'm on 123. Yeah. Dry skin in the winter, of course. Dry heat, makes my eyes dry sometimes. Yeah. But the other red light indicator for me was the thin cracking and peeling nails. That was like a sign for me. Menstrual irregularities, endometriosis, infertility, reoccurring miscarriages, birth defects, and difficult menopause. None of those things were an issue. But so I guess the two things that pointed out for me was feeling cold when others were hot and the thin cracking and peeling nails. But then I got this stuff called Mineral Rich with aloe, and when I take that, my nails they just grow nice and strong and healthy. So it just told me I had more of a mineral deficiency than anything else. So
I'm gonna need a text message on that product.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of us walk around with mineral and vitamin deficiencies and not even know it. So again, playing around, knowing my body. When you know your body, that's almost like half the battle, because you could then you're better able to communicate what's going on with you, what's not going on with you, and so. So that was my thyroid. My thyroid concern.
And I'm lost for words.
Why?
No, I said when I turned 35, I just feel like, my cycles are still normal. But they're not. I'm having more nausea, don't feel good right before. I never had all those issues, and I don't know, maybe because I always had an IUD and never had a period. But I just feel like I don't know. I'm 35, and I feel like I hate to see what 40 may bring me. I can't
Girl,
explain.
40 is the new 20.
I've never been, and then when the doctor, she did my progesterone level, and she said, well, no, you're ovulating, but you must be ovulating late in the month because your progesterone level is off. So I'm like, what happened? Did something happen? And so I've been searching in this book. I don't have an answer. That's my tangent.
Well, just the fact that you at least now kind of figure out and go around and see what's actually happening will definitely be helpful too.
Yeah, but so because it's very hard for me to see if you know how some women will get like premenstrual type things where they may get breast tenderness or cramping or just really fatigue before their cycle comes on.
All of that. That was me, all of that.
Yeah. And I've never experienced that so recently, but I can't say is it because I always had an IUD and never had a period. Does that make sense? Yeah. I do remember the tiredness. I do remember the tiredness, but not to the degree of, who has a soda bottle up? Oh.
No, it wasn't the soda bottle. It was the product that I was telling Nia about.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was telling all you about.
So I just, it's just one of those things. I'm just kind of doing some searching and kind of, figuring out what happened,
Right.
I don't have an answer because those are all normal. I've done a prolactin, I've done thyroid, I've done, I had vitamin D deficiency, but I've had it for years, and I take supplements.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't know, and I don't know if my body has changed a little bit. I used to at day 26 between the hours of 9 and 11 a.m. Now it's like anywhere between 26 and 30 days. That's really abnormal for me. So I don't know.
Well, you just seem like you entered into a new cycle. So, and each time you go through a new cycle, your body is kind of like you learning your body all over again. And so that's going to happen. But that's definitely going to happen. But I think once you start, you get to, like I was talking about, learning your body and knowing exactly what works and doesn't work for you. Then when something goes off, it's easier to kind of retweak and get back on board with, and because you're in that process of figuring out what works for you, that also is helpful as well. So you'll get there.
Yeah, and there's some truth to that. Remember several months ago I did that raw food diet. Lord knows how I did that. But through doing that, I know that there's just certain things that, for Nia, you don't know the history. Dawn and I suffered from acid reflux for years, probably like 15, 20 years. And
my nieces are like that.
Eventually, I was getting a lot of cavities and stuff, even though I brushed or whatever. And we both had the application, which is a procedure where they kind of wrap your stomach around your esophagus to keep it from going up. And it's probably something genetic, and Dawn and I both needed it. Had a hiatal hernia with it. But through that surgery, for the first time for 10 years, I was able to lay down again and not be on all these medications. But I think I just recently found out a couple months ago, I've been in pain ever since the surgery. And I think what happened was when the doctor did the surgery, they kind of probably slipped one of my sensory nerves.
Ow.
And so I couldn't understand why I was in all this chronic pain. And also, with that being said, I stay in this chronic pain, but then I have sometimes after surgery or any stomach surgery, people undergo and have what's called dumping syndrome. And dumping syndrome is that any carb goes to your body where your body can't break it down. And so people have severe abdominal cramping, they have diarrhea, they have bloating, just very bad sensation. And so he said I didn't actually have dumping syndrome, but I have a dumping disorder, so that's why I can't tolerate like simple sugars, carbs, that. But I also noticed that ever since I did the raw food diet, gluten is not my friend either. And when I met with one of the GI doctors, you know, they did a luncheon and we were talking and everything. He was saying how nowadays the way they make food is different than they made it 20, 30 years ago. They have a lot of byproduct in foods where most people now, a lot of people have gluten intolerance, not because they have celiac disease, just because of all the crap they're putting in the food.
Right, and you also have to understand wheat is made much differently before. Before it was a very long stalk of wheat. Now wheat is this small and is manufactured in somebody's company, and that's the same thing like with corn. It's because it's genetically modified, both the wheat and corn, and when they put it in the process for the food, it doesn't sit well with a lot of people, and a lot of people have no idea that they're bothered by it because doctors are looking for symptoms of celiac disease and things like that, but you don't have to have celiac disease to have intolerance to it. Because of those GMOs, it's extremely important that we pay attention to the labels and what we eat and so forth. Sorry, Tanisha.
No, and another guy came in and did a luncheon with us, and we're testing now for gluten intolerance. So now there's testing available. Not every office offers it, but they're now offering. We offer in our office testing for gluten intolerance and certain other intolerances where you not necessarily can produce an antibody for that, but you can be tested for gluten intolerance. And even if that test is negative, like my test was negative, but I know that I can't tolerate gluten. I can just eat it. But also with celiac, the key diagnosis for celiac is a biopsy. So doctors can do all the blood tests in the world. Unless they do a biopsy of the gut, you really can't say that person does or doesn't have celiac disease. Yeah.
A lot of people have leaky gut syndrome too. And don't even realize that.
What is that? Because I probably got it.
Is where you're having too much acid. Is not how does the best way to describe it? It's like you're having too much acid and it doesn't go where it's supposed to go properly, and it starts to leak out into other parts of your body, and then it ends up causing you some type of digestive issue, have it be a reflux or have it be even like just having a bigger waist because your body, your digestive system, your colon isn't working properly as it's supposed to. What I'll do is put a link up because I can't describe it as well as I know. Like I know it, but I don't know it well enough to like describe it. But that's kind of like I'll post it. That's what I'll do.
So yeah, so essentially, and I mean to cut across and take advantage of, take over this book club, but essentially, I guess I've been feeling like at 35, I was kind of disgusted. I had the surgery at 33, and still going through this. I've never had, I've had migraines here or there, but I've never had the amount of pain that I have, and it's like, I've healed one thing and have something different. Now, would I do the surgery procedure again because to get rid of that reflux? Absolutely. I don't have those issues anymore. But I feel like I've developed others, and it's like, like this week it's very discouraging. I try to get off like my Dexilent, which is like equivalent to Nexium, and I've been on medicine like that for like 15 years because my reflux was bad, and I just have had nothing but stomach pain and just very miserable because I want to go off of it, and I've come to the reality. Today I took it. I'm like, okay, you're feeling great. You need this medicine, but it's not something that you want to do, and it is discouraging because you don't want to hurt, you don't want to be in pain, and when you radically have changed your diet the way I've changed it, I'm very careful and cautious about everything that I eat, even the water I drink. I only drink this pint of water that Angie told me about. You just go through moments where you kind of just like feeling blue because you're like, what else can you do? And it's nothing because your nerve has been damaged.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Look at not a question, but are the foods that you're eating, are any of the foods that you're eating? I know that you changed your diet, but are any of the foods you're eating inflammatory foods and or you might also need to look at food combining, where you're making sure that you got a nice balance of foods, not too many foods that are acidic and not too many foods that are alkaline, but a nice balance that your pH stays balanced. So, you could do a pH testing. I would, and I know you have access to the little tapes because I have them myself, but you can do a pH testing for before you wake up, before you eat, after you eat, and at nighttime to check your pH level. And you might need to do that. So it's this little thing here. Let me take this thing off. I want to take that off. So it's you have this here.
No, I haven't seen that since chemistry class, but it's litmus paper.
Well, litmus paper, but right. But like I said, I have it because I can just test my own pH at home. I don't have to go to a doctor to do this. But I would do this 3 times a day because that'll let you know if you're acidic or alkaline. Too much alkaline is not good. Obviously, too much acidic is not good. And the balance, because you may just be eating foods that are contributing to your issue, which may be causing you digestive issues. And I did post the information about leaky gut. Another good person who talks about inflammation a lot is Dr. Andrew Weil. So you can kind of look at him as well. But I did put some information up there about that too.
But I will say, Angie, you and I have had this conversation a long time. I will say that since I don't eat a lot of meat. I'll do fish, but I don't eat a lot of meat. Since I've gotten rid of dairy, since I've gotten rid of meat, remember I was doing pepperoni and cheese. Since I've gotten rid of certain things, and I only drink the alkaline water, because I do notice a difference. One week I said I was gonna just buy regular water. Since I've gotten rid of that, I don't feel the amount of acid in the back of my throat despite taking medicine. Now, the dumping syndrome that I had is gone if I don't have simple sugars. The pain that I'm experiencing is a type of neuropathic pain that there's a difference between digestive pain or other type of pains in your body and neuropathic pain. Neuropathic pain is one that's very hard to reach. It's the pain I woke up from the OR with. I still have it.
Okay.
So when I talk about different things, I have like 2 different things going on. And so it's the neuropathic pain where, you know how diabetics may get nerve pain in their feet and it's this unrelenting pain that you can't really get a hold of? That's the kind of pain that I kind of have on this left side where they did the surgery. Now, but I will say, since you've given me those ideas about the alkaline water, getting rid of dairy, certain other things, I do notice a difference. I notice a difference about the burning in the back of my throat. I notice a difference because I still had a little acid reflux, but I don't have it anymore. I don't have the dumping problems anymore either.
Correct.
So it has made a big difference. It's
okay.
just get discouraged, when you've done all that, and in your heart as a doctor, in your heart that this pain that you have, you'll probably have for the rest of your life.
Well, let me read this to you, even though I did post it. But leaky gut syndrome, and this is from Dr. Weil, leaky gut syndrome is not generally recognized by conventional physicians, but evidence is accumulating that is a real condition that affects the lining of the intestines. The theory is that leaky gut syndrome, also called increased intestinal permeability, is the result of damage to the intestinal lining, making it less able to protect the internal environment as well as the filters need nutrients and other biological substances. As a consequence, some bacteria and their toxins, incompletely digested proteins and fats, and waste not normally absorbed may leak out of the intestine into the bloodstream. This triggers an autoimmune reaction which can lead to gastrointestinal problems such as abdominal bloating, excessive gas, cramps, fatigue, food sensitivities, joint pain, skin rashes, and autoimmunity. The cause of the syndrome may be chronic inflammation, food sensitivities, and damage from taking large amounts of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, cytotoxic drugs, and radiations on certain wait a minute, I hit the wrong button. and radiation of certain antibiotics, excessive alcohol consumption, or compromised immunity. Leaky gut syndrome may trigger or worsen such disorders as Crohn's disease, celiac disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and asthma. My colleague, pediatric Sandy Newmark, MD, who deals with leaky gut syndrome in children, tells me that it isn't clear how many people have this disorder or exactly what problems it can attribute to. Dr. Newmark says that it has been established that a significant percentage of children with autism have increased intestinal permeability, but it is not known whether it's cause or an effect of food sensitivities or underlying metabolic problems. Some alternative medicine practitioners blame such unrelated problems as migraines, bad breath, and insomnia on leaky gut syndrome and recommend buying home test kits purportedly capable of measuring intestinal permeability. I doubt it. For treatment, some of these practitioners recommend an assortment of dietary supplements. And I'll let, it's like only 2 paragraphs left, but I'll let you read that. But I did post the same article in the group page, but I think it's worth reading. I think it's worth you researching to at least see if you can find any more answers and to see if it'll help alleviate even what's still bothering you at this point, because you shouldn't have to live the rest of your life like that. So I think there still are answers, just pointing in the right avenue. And I think Dr. Wild might be that person who can give you some answers. Because I've been reading a lot of things about it. When my naturopath suggested to me a couple of years ago that maybe I had leaky gut syndrome, so I kind of have been reading on it, for a while.
All right, I'll definitely look into it because you know me, I'm game for anything.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just more knowledge, and you can find it helpful.
Nia's nodding her head. Is she on mute?
Nia? Nia?
We can't hear you, darling.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Turn up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The twin school was calling to say they were closed, and I hit mute so you all wouldn't have to hear the phone ringing. I forgot to unmute. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Where do you buy your litmus paper?
I think I got that from my naturopath, but I think I got one of them from Pollux, or he gave it to me or something. But I got 2 or 3 of them, but I got from the naturopath, and I think Pollux, I got it from Pollux too. Pollux is the herb store on Broad Street.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
Angie, as far as that reflux, Angie,
yeah,
as far as the
yeah.
reflux, when you told me to increase my greens and water, that just seems to, I mean, I didn't have the issue before, but remember one day I told you I have started feeling it? And ever since, because I know sometimes anxiety brings it up, like yesterday I felt it, and all I did was drink a liter of water, and it went away.
Yeah. Yeah, water, because I had the same issue, and I just was like, he gave me Nexium, and I was like, I'm gonna take this couple of days just to relieve it, but I will not be taking this. So, when I came back, he said, "Are you still using that?" I said, "Now, Dr. Brownstein, you know me better." He said, "Well, I guess not." Because he already know I will not be a slave to anybody's prescription. So sometimes it's funny. He's like, "Well, what do you want me to do? Because you're not going to take what I prescribe you." I was like, "I don't know. I'm just telling you." So I guess he's like, "Girl, she's crazy." But yeah, that's kind of. Yeah, I think it's worth looking into because as I said before, you shouldn't have to live like that. So
Thank you guys for listening to me. I've never been able to really talk to anybody how frustrated I am.
well,
You talk to me. Talk to me, though.
Besides you, Dawn.
That's why we're here.
That is exactly why we're here.
What is it, Sheldon?
Angie, now I have this problem. I was going to talk to you afterwards anyway. Is that I don't remember, and I know. Please don't laugh at me. I know what to do. It's just that I don't remember when it comes to do it sometimes. And I know it has to do with my memory issue, but I give you a case in point. Like I know like foods that I want to eat and what I should eat. But sometimes when I go to the market or when I go cook it, I forget about the meal. So I was going to ask you, because I know you're doing this health coach thing, and I know this is just a side note. I know being videotaped. But anyway, I was going to see maybe if you could help me on the coaching side. I know it's business. But I was going to ask you, could you make me a calendar of...
Like a meal plan? Is that what you're
doing? Like a meal plan that would help me, like if I could see it on my refrigerator or a shopping list. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, I don't mean to cut you off, but you know, if you go on your iPhone and go under notes, what I really do, if you ever go on my iPhone, look under my notes, I'll have Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, whatever, and then I'll have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the entire menu for the entire week.
I do that, and I know what you're saying. I do that as the market shopping, but when I get in the market, so you have to understand, when I write my list, I write a list, but when I get in the market, I forgot to add things to my list. So then I get confused. And I know this has to do with my memory issue, but I just need, if I have one piece of paper with a grocery list and the meals that I can make, you know what I mean? I think, but nutritional meals, I don't want just any type of meal, but I wanted you to dig into your brain meal, because Angie got this book that she hit on every category. And see, I want those foods, like blueberries, like the kiwi. I do remember, I eat that every single day because for the brain health, but things like that. And then, you know, maybe because like this thyroid thing, that's just so much for me to absorb. For me to retain every single week what we've been talking about, and I know to write the notes, but for me to write notes that I'm not listening, I don't know if that makes sense. Sometimes my signals don't connect. So I'd rather try to listen and take it in, but if I start writing notes, I can't hear, I can't comprehend the information. So I know that was just a side note, but I wanted to say it before I forgot.
Okay,
because I think it would be helpful.
Well, we'll talk about that, but the other thing I'm going to say to you too, that just like, all right, I do hear you, because sometimes listening and taking notes, sometimes you miss something, but you can always go back to the recordings, and while you got the recordings with your notebook and your pen or whatever, or your iPad and the notes section, and just jot down key things to kind of help you. And not full sentences, but keywords. Ladies, keep talking, because if I wiggle any longer, I'm going to be needing RJ's Pampers. Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Doing all I'm saying.
My note to this. No, you have a great point, because that's what I actually do when I go to the market. But I need it for meal. I need it for meal planning and stuff like that too.
No, I definitely understand exactly what you're saying. And what I have done, I've basically done what Tanisha does, and I will plan. I need this is what the meals are going to look like, and I need this, this, and this, and this. But Dawn, I know exactly what you're saying, because I have walked in the store and bought this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and got home and went, damn, I'm out of olive oil. It's like I got.
But you know what?
But I'm out of olive oil.
But even on top of that, I will forget meals that I really like. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I need somebody to sit down with me, and I tell them all the foods I like to eat, and they meal it up, because I literally forget. Like, there's certain foods that I forget my kids eat. That's what I'm saying. I think it just is linking in with my brain issue. But that's why I said I just need some help, because I'm listening to what you guys are saying, and about your thyroid, and about this and about that. I'm like, oh, my God, thank God my sister's a doctor. Maybe she could just, when we go for a test, just remember everything that they said for me to be tested. Or that's just so much information.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll schedule a time to talk, and then we'll just sit down and talk, and we'll get that together. That's not a problem.
You can share the list with me, Dawn. I may come up with some more creative recipes.
So yeah, one of my goals is because my coach Nia, my husband, like get your cookbook started. So I do want to work on that this summer. I really do. Because last week I posted up these not my grandmama's baked beans, and people are sharing my picture that I don't even know. I was like, who is this person?
They look good, Angie. They look good.
Girl, it was too. But I was like, who are these people? I never heard these people in my life.
That's called going viral.
That's what I said. I said my beans went viral. Like I know, like 2 friends posted it, and then their friends was posting, and I was like, oh my God, who are these people? So it's been.
And there are people in Argentina eating Angie's beans.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Hilarious. But I do want to do that.
Yeah, because I need to be able to sell that cookbook at some of my seminars and workshops, so you need to get busy.
I know. I am in the midst of getting my schedule so I can start boom, 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 boom. I know one thing. I got to find me an assistant because it's like so much stuff to get done that I want to do.
Mine is down the hall.
I know you lucky.
And I mean, and he's a good assistant. We were just talking about today about the seminar on Saturday. He's like, okay, did you get the PowerPoints printed out? Yeah, I got the PowerPoints printed out. You got your handouts printed out? He's got my accordion files. Everything is in there in order that he needs to give them. He's got the clipboard. The bags are packed. He is ready.
Wow.
Stuff I don't remember. He's like, we're going to do name tags this time. I think you should get some name tags this time. I can write them up because he's got pretty handwriting. Get some name tags for people when they come in, and in that way, when they raise their hand, you can call them by name. I was like, go ahead, son, with your bad self.
Right.
That's the reason
tell him I need him to duplicate himself and he might need to be my virtual assistant.
Well, see, but that was the plan. That's what we were training him to do, to be able to be a virtual assistant specifically to health coaches, because that's who he assists. So we're working on that. We're working on that now.
Yeah.
So before we run out of time, should we hit insulin real quick?
Oh yeah. That's your part right there. I'll let you do that one.
That's my part. That's my part right there. Okay. So first of all, I think I mentioned to everybody that I am type 2 diabetic. So I have I have insulin issues, and so this one is kind of near and dear to my heart. And it was very interesting to me to have him point out that healthy insulin levels equals a clear mind and a healthy body, because I noticed before any doctor ever told me that when my blood sugar was out of control, I would lose what I was saying in the middle of a sentence, just lose my complete train of thought in the middle of a sentence and really not be able to get back to where I was. It was very difficult, but I didn't realize it was the high blood sugar that was doing it. I mean, they tell you about the sweats and the chills and the nausea and the thirst and the dry skin and all those kinds of things, but nobody told me what it was doing to my brain. So it's very important that we keep in mind that if we want to have healthy female brains, we absolutely must control our insulin levels.
You have to be a diabetic to be controlling insulin levels, because being a diabetic, your body's still working. Anytime you eat, you produce insulin.
Correct. So then we run into when we talk about the simple sugars and the highly processed carbs can cause large levels, large increases and spikes in insulin levels, more so than things like fresh fruit or the carbs that are in dark green leafy vegetables, which affect insulin levels in a good way. High insulin levels cause all kinds of wild swings in your body. And one of the things that I found to be interesting is that some of the symptoms of high glucose in your blood are very similar to what happens when your blood sugar is too low. I would get nauseous and feel like I was about to faint because my blood sugar dropped. Not because it was low, but because it was high and now it's dropping. My blood sugar could be 300 and drop from 300 to 115, which is someplace good, but the drop from 300 to 115 would make me feel every bit as bad as if my blood sugar was 60. Just, not fun at all. Low blood sugar can cause us to feel foggy and sluggish. On the other hand, high blood sugar can give you poor or cause you to lose your eyesight, lose your limbs, kidney malfunctions, heart disease, and dementia. And now they're finding there's such a strong correlation between high blood sugar levels and Alzheimer's that they're starting to call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes.
What was that?
Sorry.
Everybody okay?
I'm sorry. I was moving a high chair. I'm sorry.
I was like,
Okay.
okay.
Dawn, you cannot fit in there. You cannot fit in it.
I was gonna say, girl, don't you know I'm in DC? Stuff that sound like gunshots make me die for the floor.
Dawn's trying to sit in the high chair. She's just trying to go back. Don't go back that far, Dawn.
So we talk about the things that are critical to insulin regulation, which is to eliminate all simple sugars, wheat, processed foods, in some cases, and for some people, dairy, all gluten-based products. And I actually learned to control mine by doing Dr. Hyman's blood sugar solution, which advocates getting rid of sugar, gluten, and dairy, and that worked for me. But one of the things it also talks about is the fact that trading in sugar for chemicals that are sugar-free, like aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, things like that, the taste of sweet on your tongue still tells your brain that you need to create insulin. So now you have insulin, but you don't have anything for the insulin to work on. And insulin causes belly fat, so you definitely want to have excess insulin in your body. So in order to prevent that from happening, you want to work with natural sugars because the fiber in fruits and vegetables helps your body to deal with the sugar. It makes it break down slower so you don't end up with insulin spikes. Unregulated insulin levels can cause a lot of problems that are physical that we don't see, but it also causes a lot of problems that we can see. And as women, sometimes vanity will save us from health issues. And when I say that, I will say that when my blood sugar was out of control, I had a lot of problems with my hair thinning. And it's still growing back on the top, but at one point I was like, I had very little hair on the top.
You gotta get that mineral rich I'm telling you about then. Girl, that stuff make your hair grow, your nails grow. Woo! Sorry.
Well, then I definitely need that. I need the mineral rich to take care of it from the outside and the inside, but more importantly, I need to continue to control my blood sugar. Uncontrolled blood sugar accelerates the aging process. A lot of times people who are diabetic and don't control it, they get lines in their faces soon. They look older. It takes away the glow from their skin. Uncontrolled blood sugar makes your skin dry anyway because, I don't know, it saps all the water out of you, and you're always thirsty. And you're always thirsty, and your skin is always thirsty, your hair is always thirsty, your nails are always thirsty. So from a vanity standpoint, we have to control our blood sugar.
Nia, I don't mean to cut you off. I got to put my baby to sleep. It's 9 o'clock. But
Okay.
I will inbox you my phone number.
Okay,
And Angie,
sweetie.
I will call you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay?
Good night,
All
Dawn.
right, talk to y'all soon.
Okay.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so let me hurry. It hinders the production of DHEA, which we need to build our sex hormones. So now, I didn't experience this particular thing. A lot of diabetics do, where they lose their sex drive. Yeah, it didn't have that effect on me. Not at all. And it still doesn't have that effect on me at all. Not at all. I
She's
I told you
emphasizing not at all.
I would still be pedaling that bike right now. So we definitely want to talk about that. So now here's the thing. I made a note to myself to tell you all this story about the whole libido thing. I became diabetic when I was 36. And it was crazy because I had lost 63 pounds. I was going to the gym 6 days a week. I was probably eating healthier than I had in a very, very long time. But I had separated from my husband 5 or 6 years earlier. And so the single mother thing was really starting to work on me. And I had 2 jobs, and I was sleeping 4.5 hours a night. And unfortunately, nobody bothered to tell me that not sleeping would make my pancreas tired and that my pancreas would just go to sleep on me. And, I became insulin resistant solely because I was stressed out of my mind, so I had all of the cortisol, and I wasn't getting enough sleep. If somebody had told me that, I would have been meditating in and getting some sleep, and I might never have become diabetic. But right after I separated from my husband, I was really angry. Yes, angry. I wanted to stand on a roof with a deer rifle and shoot people named Freisen at random. Just all my in-laws and my ex-husband. I was, not a happy camper. I was not interested in sex at that time, and in fact, I became celibate at that time. But I thought that it was just the anger and the pissed offness, and it probably was just that. But when I got my blood sugar under control, my libido just kind of exploded. It was like, yeah, I would get off the elevator if a good-looking man got on it because I was afraid if I stayed on the elevator with him, I might attack him. I'm so glad that's under control now. But it was a real issue, and I did not realize at the time that my blood sugar could very well have been part of the problem. Also, we were talking about chronic inflammation, and dealing with blood sugar issues can cause chronic inflammation because the stimulation of the belly fat, the fact that insulin is a hormone and it screws around with other hormones so that things are not flowing like they should be, so you end up with chronic inflammation. I love this word. It leads to glycation, which is a sugar-damaged protein, and it's like browning food in the oven, caramelizing stuff that doesn't need to be caramelized, and age spots, cataracts. It's bad on your teeth. It rots out your teeth. It messes with your vision. It recedes your gums. And when you think about the fact that in almost all cases of diabetes, not type 1, obviously, but type 2 and 3, in almost all cases, great improvement can be made by making real and lasting dietary changes, getting more exercise, getting some sleep, and taking the right supplements. It is just so easy. And when you think in terms of the alternative, and that's what happened to me. I was telling Angie, I lost 63 pounds when I went on my health and fitness journey. Then when my sister died and my mom died a year later, the stress of moving up here and trying to take care of the girls and all those different things was too much for me, and I wasn't really paying attention, and the weight started to creep back on, and my blood sugar got out of control, and they put me on Avandia. And I didn't know about Avandia and what Avandia could do for you. And I looked up, and I had finally gotten below 200 pounds, and in 1 month on Avandia, I gained 42 pounds.
I hate that. I hate the whole class. Avandia, Actos, all of them.
Yeah.
What is that for?
It's for blood sugar. It's a really great diet. I mean, it's great medication to get your people's blood sugar down, but it causes people to have central obesity right around their stomach.
Right in the middle. Right in the middle. And so, you know, and people were like, well, you know, you must really be doing something terrible that, you know, you put all that weight back on. Yeah, but, you know, I ran my first half marathon weighing 251 pounds. Because I didn't lose my fitness. I was still working out, and I had started eating correctly, and I was working out, and I should have been losing weight, except my doctor didn't tell me that I wasn't going to lose weight while I was still taking the Avandia. And then I saw it, I read it somewhere, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I can go back to controlling my blood sugar without taking the Avandia. And so what I did was I started stepping down from it. I didn't even talk to my doctor about it because she wanted me to take it. Your blood sugar is high. You need to take this. Yeah, my blood sugar is going to stay high because if I take the Avandia, and it does lower your blood sugar, but it makes you gain weight, which means that the dosage of Avandia has to go up to go with the fact that you're bigger. And the more Avandia you take, the bigger you get, which means you have to take a bigger dose of Avandia. It is a terrible catch-22.
Cycle. Ooh.
I mean, terrible catch-22.
You just have one. I mean, not all people get the weight loss, but I mean the weight gain. But when you do, you get it.
Oh yeah, and it was all in the middle. All in the middle.
So can you guys post some of I hear you guys keep talking about supplements. So can you post like some of the supplements you guys do? I'd be very interested.
Okay.
To see.
Do you take a fish oil or algae oil?
I take a fish oil.
Yeah, I do fish oil. I'll do 500 of magnesium, and I do the CoQ10.
And I do fish oil, magnesium, CoQ10, chromium picolinate, L-tyrosine, L-carnitine, NAC. Let me see. I'm forgetting some.
She got the alphabet.
I do. I take so many pills. I take them by the handful, and so you get people say, "Well,
but do you take a probiotic?"
I take a probiotic too.
Okay. Do you take a probiotic?
Yes,
No, I was just reading about the probiotic, and maybe I should.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a probiotic. If you don't want to take a lot of different things, I would definitely take the probiotic, and I would take the fish oil. Would be the things that I would definitely take, for sure. I mean, other supplements fine, but I'm just saying those two like almost like non-negotiable. But I also would, if you're not eating a lot of meat at this point, get yourself some liquid B12, and because we're not really outside and we're African American, we all should be taking the
get that vitamin D.
Oh yeah, I have to do 50,000 once a week because mine will go down to like the single digits. I mean,
when I had got mine tested, it was like 13, and I put them drops, and a couple months later I was up at 50. So I was working it.
Well, see, Tanisha, I'm like you. I have to take like massive doses of vitamin D, and oddly enough, a lot of that also came from the diabetes, because when they put you on diabetes medication, right on the side of the bottle it always says no prolonged direct exposure to sunlight. So from the time I was 36 until the time I was 49, when the first time I got myself together from a diabetic standpoint, I would not stay out in the sun. I mean, I wouldn't be. The sun, from the bus stop to wherever I had to go, was as close as I got. I did not do sunlight.
I have found that most people that I test their vitamin D, they're deficient. Most people. And
right.
I mean, I've done the regular supplements daily, but they won't get me. I'll just go right back down. So I do have to do the high dose ones.
Yeah, I think mine is like 5,000 IUs, but most people are vitamin D deficient. Most people who live in northern states are deficient, African Americans, because we're not outside, and because of our melanin and our darker skin tone, it's hard for it to absorb in there. So, all people, especially living in the north, need to definitely take it. All black people need to take it, because we're not outside. I mean, unless you work at like Disney World and you're outside all day, then you might be getting enough. But more than likely, if you're African American, you're not getting enough because
most
typically we don't stay outside too long.
That's true. That is true. So basically, all of the hormones are very, very important, and we need to be very cognizant of all of the hormones because they're the keys to the locks in our bodies, and nothing functions without the hormones telling it to function, or things happen that shouldn't happen if the hormones don't tell them not to happen. So they are all very, very important. I don't recall at this point how far in the book we get as far as hormones are concerned, but I did want to throw this in because one of my specialties, and I had told Angie knows this, one of my specialties is dealing with environmental toxins and its effect on our health and our weight loss. And one of the things that we have to be very, very cognizant is synthetic hormones. And one of the biggest synthetic hormones are the pheromones. You know, black women, we like to smell good, so we go buy, you know, a lot of expensive perfumes and shower gels and deodorants and shampoos and lotions that smell like things. And the problem is that most of those things that we're smelling, those scents are designed inside a chemical lab. It's not coming from the real flower. I don't care if they tell you it's rose hips or not. That's probably not what it is. And those hormones are obesogens, and they are hormone disruptors.
And
so we have
also add they're carcinogenic as well. So
that too, they are definitely that. And we have to be very careful of that. And as Angie pointed out and added to a program that I'm working on for Saturday, we also have to control our insulin and our blood sugar because they're finding now that sugar feeds cancer. There are whole classes of cancers that if you starve them, they will go away.
Well, actually, you know, you're saying find it, but people just didn't want to read it because I was reading something back when Dick Gregory wrote this in the 70s, and he was saying that when he brought out his Bohemian. Remember, he had that Bohemian drink.
I used to love that stuff.
And he was saying that, and I think this was like 1977, 1978, and
right.
He was saying that cancer can only live on sugar, so if you remove the sugar, then you remove the cancer. There's nothing to feed it off of. But we definitely were nowhere near as health conscious back then as you know. Dick Gregory was just so forward thinking, and being a vegan, he already knew, but definitely have to be mindful of that. And I think Tanisha already probably knows. I don't use any chemicals. I don't use any chemicals on me at all. Because Tanisha's oldest son, Sheldon, had eczema, and she was gonna. I said, "Girl,